Hey guys, welcome to an extension of the last episode of the Lion and the Liverpool podcast. We'll be talking about the final of the 2024 Euros, where Spain beat England by 2 goals to one. It was, I think, the perfect ending to a pretty fun tournament. Spain, I think, were deserved winners. There was a very good goal right at the end. England, for all their talents and all the talk about football coming home, it just didn't work out for them again. We'll discuss that in a bit. So, yeah, Rohit, take it away. What did you think of how the final went?
Yeah, I think the final pretty much went how I expected it to go. The stats say it all basically. I think England had just about 34% possession of the ball, and Spain had 66%. So that's basically giants versus minnows, right? When like a big team plays a small team, you see a possession split like that. And of course, Spain dominated the game, most of the game. And only in the end did England make a bit of a comeback, but I think Spain were deserved winners. So I think the first goal was scored by Nico Williams and set up by Lamine Yamal. I think
Again,
nothing can be more kind of emblematic of how amazing these two young players have been for Spain, right? 17-year-old Lamine Yamal at the ripe age, old age of 17, setting up Nico Williams, who scored past Pickford to give them a 1-0 lead.
Mhm.
And then, much later, Southgate brings on Ollie Watkins and Cole Palmer, the same thing he did in the semi-finals. I
Mhm.
don't think he has too many new formulas. I think he has a very limited list of formulas to use. And this time it was Cole Palmer with an amazing
Oh, it
shot from
was a
outside the
sweet
box.
finish. Yeah, it was a very
Yep,
good
yep.
finish.
Yep. And I think only after that goal for about 5 minutes did England really threaten.
Mhm.
And then, right at the end, much maligned, I've talked about much maligned Kukurea, he actually set up Oyarzabal. I don't think we've heard of Oyarzabal for the longest time, and Oyarzabal scored the winner. So that's basically how it went down,
So
2-1 to
just
Spain.
yeah, just talking about that goal from
Yeah,
Spain, it was a thing of beauty. It was very simple, intricate
yep.
passing. The ball goes out to Cucurella. He's getting closed down like rapidly by Walker, I believe. And it's such a sweet ball that he puts it into the box. Oyarzabal times his run perfectly with a perfect finish. I had forgotten that Oyarzabal was also in the Spanish side. Like I was like, who's leading the line? And it's like Oyarzabal there. And there were doubts that this was going to be chalked out because of offside, but I think it was Gehi's knee slightly keeping Oyarzabal
Yeah, I
onside.
think John Stones or
Oh,
Gay,
sorry,
one of
John
them.
Stones. It
Yeah,
was John
yeah.
Stones. Gehi was chasing Oyarzabal. So it was an incredible finish to the game, and that goal just epitomizes how good Spain were during the
Yep.
entire tournament.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the funny thing is, even Kukurea posted this on Instagram.
Mm.
Before the tournament, Gary Neville had made a comment that, the one reason why Spain will not be able to win this is Mark Kukurea, because, according to him, he was so bad. And Kukurea posted it saying that, hey, we are champions now, and I assisted the winning goal. Hope you're still doing okay, Gary Neville. Interesting how, things go around and come around in
So
soccer,
yeah,
just like in life.
to add to that point, we get to see a lot of the British media back here
Hmm.
in India. I'm not sure it's the same over there, but obviously the British media is big BBC and Sky Sports, etc. So there was there was a not a funny discussion, but people were saying that because it was 0-0 at halftime and Rodri was substituted due to an injury, a lot of them
Hmm.
were saying that this is England's game to lose. Like
Yeah.
they will be winning it easily. It's that easy. Uh, but Rodri was replaced by I think Zubamendi, and he did
Yes.
not seem out of place at all. So it's funny.
Actually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you say Rodri was the player of the tournament, by the way. I think
Yep.
uh, it should have been was it Yamal? I believe it should have been Yamal, but anyway,
Hmm.
Rodri seems to get the right calls and the right positions and everything. So
Hmm.
you can't actually say that the Spanish side were dependent just on Rodri. You can just see how good they were
No.
overall.
Yeah.
So I found it funny that people were celebrating Rodri being sub, but they did not know that a better player or a good player was coming on.
Yeah. A couple of points on Rodri, right? I was actually one of them who was quite scared for Spain when Rodri went off
Mhm.
because he's such a crucial member of the Spanish team, and he also brings a physicality that you need against England because England are a pretty physical squad. But like you said, Zubimendi came in and he deputized seamlessly,
Yep.
basically, right? And then I also saw an interview of Rodri after the game where he said something very interesting. He said, Spain's mindset was that with the ball, we're going to play like a big team, and without the ball, we'll defend like a small team. So
Mhm.
basically, he's saying, be fearless when you have the ball, play like a big team, but when you lose the ball, ensure that you drop back and everybody defends. England just plays like a small team all the time without the ball. Just
Yeah, we
defend,
need to
defend.
discuss England. I think more
Yeah,
than Spain. I think credit has to be given to Spain and the coach for
yeah.
setting the side up. We had spoken about them maybe not being the favorites because that is what a lot of the bookies said. But they proved everybody wrong. They're really
Oh,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah, and they played a really good brand of football. I think that's more important because
Yeah.
France, England, even the Dutch, they did not play a great brand of football. It wasn't great to see,
Hmm.
but Spain got the results
Yeah.
and they got the trophy in the end also. So, and the
Yeah.
performances, obviously.
And they also beat the toughest teams on their way through, right?
Yes,
Like England,
yes.
England did not. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something England always get. So Spain beat Germany. They beat Georgia. I think fine. That's okay. That could have been a
Hmm.
banana skin. And England and France. So I think deserved winners. Uh,
Absolutely,
but
absolutely.
we should also turn our attention to England because
Yeah, let's talk about a few
yeah,
players,
yeah.
right? A few players who flopped. Do you want to start off with Captain Kane, Harry Kane, who got subbed off at 60 minutes?
What did Kane do the entire tournament? He scored one penalty goal, right? Yeah, that's the thing he did. And I
I think he
remember in that
scored a
game,
couple. Yeah, I think he scored one more goal, a couple more goals, some here or there. I don't know, but not
I
much.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to find. Oh yeah, he scored one goal. Yeah. It was against Slovakia in the 91st
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. So, Ki- so this was something that we did not expect because we believe that Kane could have done well, especially with
Hmm.
this talented bunch of attackers around him. But he just did not perform in this tournament. He was dropping way deep into the midfield for
Yeah, what was
some
going on? There were no
weird
connections with
reason.
all these attackers near the opposition
Uh,
penalty box at all.
yeah, so he's got a midfield of Bellingham. He's got Declan Rice, and also why does he need to drop into the box? It made absolutely zero sense. There's nobody running behind or into the defense or stretching the lines. So I really did not understand what Kane's role was in this team, apart from him playing as a false, I don't know, nine.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why he flopped, I mean, it's a little complicated, right? Because he didn't have a runner, right? He always needs, like
Hmm.
you talked about, somebody who can run in behind, create the space for him. And somebody like Anthony Gordon didn't get any minutes at all, right? Somebody who could have been similar to like what Son used to be at Tottenham for Kane, and they had that connection. He didn't get used at all. And instead, the person who kept getting game time again and again was Phil Foden, who had zero
Oh,
assists
yeah.
and zero goals in 7 games.
Terrible, terrible. I don't know what was going on with Phil Foden, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, yikes. So all of
I,
this, I think, comes down to Southgate, but we need to talk about another player also. That's Kyle Walker.
hmm.
Now, Kyle Walker has been made to be like the best right back England have, and all of this nonsense. I don't think that's true. I think he was caught out several times in this tournament.
Yeah.
Several times. Even in the final, I think both the goals
Yep.
came from his side. He was
Yep.
responsible for, I think, the second goal at least, if not the first. So he's not had a good season for Man City. He did not have a good season. I think the previous year also, I'm not quite sure. He's made too many mistakes. He gets caught out. I think the only thing that saves
Yeah.
him is his pace.
Positionally.
Yeah. Only his pace saves him. So what do you
Yep.
think about that? Is Kyle Walker a problem?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, even when Chelsea played Man City this time, I distinctly remember Chelsea were targeting Kyle Walker, especially on the counter attack, because he's positionally poor sometimes. I think because he's been blessed with pace, he probably doesn't concentrate on his positioning and he thinks he can always make it. But he clearly couldn't, right? I don't know, both the goals, like you said, came from his end. So I don't know. They had more players there. They had Trippier, they had Trent Alexander-Arnold there. At least Alexander-Arnold would have added something going forward. But I guess, Southgate just chose to stick with his known players, just like Phil Foden, who, didn't really contribute. Kyle Walker, caused many goals and made many mistakes, but he kept getting picked in
So,
the team. Yeah, not
yeah,
too
so
sure.
one question regarding this. Do you think the clubs, the Walker and Foden play for, does that have a bearing on them starting for England regularly because it's Man City and they're so successful?
Possible. I think that's definitely true, right? Because they've been part of such a illustrious, campaign over the last 2 3 years with Man City. They won everything. I think that's basically what compelled Southgate to start them, which is kind of interesting, because the Spain side, if you look at it, I think the only Real Madrid starter from the Spain side was Danny Carvajal,
Yeah.
and they actually had players from all over. They had Nico Williams from Bilbao. They had a bunch of people, obviously, from Barcelona. They had Fabian Ruiz from PSG. So I guess he did a better job of kind of, really putting together the best squad. And then
Mm.
Southgate probably just picked on reputation and name. You're right.
Yeah. And then obviously we have to talk about Southgate. Uh,
Hmm.
Football was supposed to be coming home. This was England's chance to win it. They had, I think, the most talented side they've had since the golden generation.
Agreed.
And he's not got them to play any good football at all. Sure, they've reached, I think, two European finals. They reached the semi-finals of the 2018 World Cup and the last eight of the last World Cup, the 2022 World Cup. So that's still the most success England have had under a manager since, I think, 66. But what do you think? Is it time for Southgate to go?
Yeah. Before we get there, right? Let's just quickly analyze their route to this particular final, right? Do you think England would have made it anywhere close to the final if they were on the other side of the bracket? I don't. Like with the likes of France, Spain, and Germany, even Portugal, if they had faced them earlier, they would have gotten out of the round of 16 or the quarterfinals. So, reaching the finals, of course, it sounds good and it takes some doing, but luck has played a big part because you said horrible. The only good game they played was probably against Netherlands. Against every other team, they've been poor. They've trailed, I think, in all of their knockout games, and then they've had Bukayo Saka bail them out, Ollie Watkins bail them out, and then today Cole Palmer bailed them out for a certain amount of time. So I really don't think they should be fooling themselves. They should be doing like a detailed dive on this performance, not just saying, "Oh, we reached two finals. Let's keep Southgate again." And I don't think that'll end well. So I definitely want England to move past Southgate. He's done a good job. You got to give him his due, right?
Hmm.
He's taken them further than they've ever gone. He's got the team playing cohesively, but I think at this stage they need a tactician who can really utilize all these talented players and play a possession-based attacking football.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, what I think Southgate has done, and you rightly said, is that he set up a good base.
Hmm.
England now know what it is to actually reach finals, which they obviously were not doing after 66. They now know how to play in the big tournaments. They know how to get results. Now it's time for them to put in the performances, like how Spain did. They did a really good job in the attack and the defense. England has the talent. I don't think we can doubt that. So I think it's time for Southgate to leave. I don't think he should be sacked. I think they should be like he should resign and understand. He's done his job. It's time for somebody else to come in. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to find a top manager for England because there aren't that many top managers available. So that's going to be a very interesting thing. I remember when Southgate was picked, there was a lot of negativity around him. Like, why is he? I
Yeah.
think he was the Middlesbrough manager before that, right? Yeah, I think so. So,
Yeah, I think he was also in the youth setup for
oh
England
yeah,
for
he
some
was in the
time.
youth
Yeah,
setup also, I believe. So he
yeah.
was after McLaren. Oh no, he was after Allardyce, I believe. Allardyce
Mhm.
got sacked after a few months only because of whatever. So it's gonna be a very interesting time for England to find a new manager if they go down the route. Because I really don't want Southgate to be there because this team needs to play better football. It's an eyesore. I can't watch them. I fall asleep. It's terrible football, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The only thing that I think that's not going to happen, I don't think he's going to resign because
Hmm.
all of his press conferences were very combative and
Ah,
throughout the Euros. He was always saying things like, "Oh, England doesn't really have a legacy. The only legacy that England have is from 1966. I've done a lot better." So he clearly wants to stay, I think. And the problem is, I think the players also back him because they get along well. I think the FA has to come in and take a strong decision here. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. I don't really know whether they'll take the decision. I hope they do. I think there are a few managers out there who don't have a job, right? I don't know. I mean, maybe they can convince Klopp. The
Klopp.
US national team tried
Yeah,
to
I
get
was gonna get
Klopp,
to
and
that.
Klopp said no, thank you. What if
Yeah.
England come and say, Klopp, save us, win us another tournament? Maybe he
Uh,
comes back.
It'll,
Tuchel is without a job, more
oh my
and
God,
so
not Tuchel,
yeah,
please. Not Tuchel
yeah,
Aban. No, 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 no. So,
a whole bunch of people.
just to wrap up this show, we were actually going to discuss the Copa America final, but due to a
Mm.
paucity of time and thanks to the great organizers in the United States, the match started, I think, 90 minutes late because
Yeah,
people were streaming into the stadium without tickets. Uh,
yep,
I just wanted to discuss a small point before we log out. The US is supposed to host the World Cup, I think, in 28, right? 26,
26.
sorry, 26,
Yeah,
sorry,
just
26.
2 years.
It's 2 years. After what we've seen in the Copa, obviously the Uruguay fracas that happened,
The
uh,
pitches have been
the
horrible.
pitches have been terrible. This was a final, a Copa America final that they completely mishandled, man. So there are a lot of concerns now about the US hosting the Olympics. And obviously, something that happened yesterday also, which made global news, was the assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Yep,
Uh,
yep,
you
yep.
know, I don't like to get into this topic, but guns are a very sensitive thing to talk about in the US. And obviously, hosting something as big as the World Cup. What do you think? So, US, just to be clear, the US has hosted a World Cup before, right? I think 94.
94. Yep, yep,
94.
yep.
So,
I hope this serves as a wake up call, right?
mm,
I don't know whether they were not ready for it because I went to a game this Copa America. It was Ecuador versus Argentina, and that was managed pretty well. That was managed out here in Texas. Maybe they're used to handling more
mm,
crowds there compared to Miami, where this final is happening. But I really hope this serves as a wake up call and they realize that, hosting a tournament of the World Cup's proportion is no laughing matter, and they really have to have all their ducks in a row in terms of the preparation, in terms of the security, and in terms of the logistics and everything. So fingers crossed. Hopefully, this kind of serves as a warning to them, and they heed the warning and make things better, and we have a decent World Cup in 2 years' time.
yeah, so because I found it surprising that they couldn't handle this final well, because the US does have a history of hosting huge events, like even
Yeah.
the local games that take place, right? I think the Super Bowl, for example, it's a huge event. Even some of the other college games, like the Rose Bowl, are huge. So
Hmm.
I just found it very strange that this kind of an issue happened at a final of a Copa America. But
True.
hopefully, this serves as a wake-up call, and they
Yep.
think they get the things in place, and we have a very good 2026 World Cup. I know 2022 was good, even though it was in Qatar. It was a pretty
Yeah.
fun World Cup.
That yeah, organization in the Qatar World Cup was
You
amazing.
were there, right? Yeah, you'd gone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I watched like 3 games and it was so convenient. Everything was smooth. Yeah, you have no complaints about that aspect there. Yep,
Yeah. So let's hope for the best. And
yep.
thanks again, everyone, for listening in to us. Please do share, subscribe, and like our videos, and comment on what you like
Yeah.
to see, what you don't like to see.
Comment what do you like, what do you dislike? We love
Yeah.
reading all your comments. Positive, negative. They all give us a
We
smile
should have
and
done something more
help
on
us learn.
Ronaldo. We could have got a lot more comments in it.
Sue. No.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.